My name is Rabbi Altman, A-L-T-M-A-N. Yeah, it means old man. Now what that means to you probably is not so important, but it's very important to recognize, to know yourself. Anything you can do to know yourself and to know what you can do and know what you can't do is going to help you in everything in life. What I'd like to tell you today is something, because I may only have you for one day, is something that is going to be the introduction and the legs on which most of your life is going to stand. Your life already stands on this. It's not something that you don't know. But because your life stands on this, if you make it strong, everything you do in life will be more successful. This is an introduction topic. It's a precursor, right? It's a preface. If you have this, you can do many things. There are many prefaces, there are many introductions in life that today we're missing. If you just fill this in, whatever you want to do, you'll be successful. Now, it's very simple. I can give you many places in the Torah where you see this comes, but I just want to give you, I want to get as quickly as possible to the bare bones, practical things that you can use every day, okay? Now, if you want to be successful, you have to know how to take care of your body, your physicality, okay? I want to give you things right now that are going to help you be healthy. Very simple. Now, the reason you need to come to Neve Yerushalayim, you need to come to Eretz Yisrael, to Israel, and to learn these things, is you can learn them in other places, but if you don't have these things, you'll be missing. Why am I talking about this? There's a lot of topics to talk about. I've been teaching for about 20 years. This is not one of my favorite topics, but it's one of the most popular. It's the ones that people remember, because it applies to every day of your life. So I'm going to, in a short amount of time, try as quickly as possible to give you basic, relatively straightforward foundational ideas in your health. Some of you are already probably pretty healthy. Some of you know these things and are doing these things. Some of you know them and you're doing some of them, but you need a little more reminder. If you use anything here, it'll make you a multiplied version of what you were before. You'll have energy, you'll be present. I can't personally stand it. I can't stand it when I'm with the people that I love and the place that I love to be and doing what I want to do, and I just don't have the energy to be present. I don't have the energy to enjoy it. My first year in college, I studied terribly, very, very hard for my finals. I slept something like 12 hours in 6 days. Now, that's terrible. That's a great way to kill your health, right? Then a bunch of my friends and I all went someplace to a vacation, a beautiful place on the beach, and we arrived, and I slept for 22 out of 24 hours. That's a shame, yeah? Why sleep through your vacation? Sleep on the way, whatever. Now, briefly, I'm going to give you a bunch of things you can do to make your health better, okay? Do any one of these things and your health will become better. What you do is take one, work on it slowly, it's not a big deal. After a period of time, it becomes like your everyday life, then move on to the next thing. A lot of them are totally obvious. Sometimes it's just worth having a health class to get you to pay attention to what you do with your health more. That's all, okay? Number one, simplest thing, okay? The whole process of energy comes from breathing. If you're in a situation where you don't have enough oxygen, you're not going to be healthy. Generally speaking, we're in a room like this, a bunch of people in a room together. It's a good idea to keep the door open a little bit, or the window, just a little bit, okay? Oxygen is extremely important. They have done studies where they put different animals and different small animals and even microscopic animals in places where they had 30% less oxygen than they normally have. And those animals become extremely sick in a very short amount of time, okay? Now, you say, well, I'm in places with oxygen. It doesn't just mean the window open. It means the window open at night. When you close the door, whatever, keep your window open at night if you can. If you live in a cold place, it might be worth it to keep the front door to your room open or something like that. Some kind of circulation. The other thing it means is if you can, at least 3 times a day, if you can do this, is to just breathe deeply at least 10 breaths. If you feel like you're getting a little winded, a little bit lightheaded, and you can't do it properly, then breathe in, and you feel like you're getting a little lightheaded, so hold your breath for a little bit. But do 10 deep breaths. Breathe in, hold for a little bit, breathe out. Yeah? It sounds very simple. You have to come to class to hear this. You'd be surprised if you feel very sluggish in the middle of the day. Oh, I need a coffee, I need to have something, right? I can't keep my head up, right? Try, just on the spot, breathing 10 times deeply. If you can stand up and do it, it's even better. Now, I know it sounds funny. These are the things that mommy's supposed to teach you when you're 3 and 4 years old. right? But for whatever reason, maybe mommy doesn't know herself. She's also reaching for the caffeine. Who knows what, right? Now, that's number one. Number two, very, very simple. The part of your body or the process in your body that takes the most energy is digestion. If you eat in a way that's conducive to digestion, that helps your digestion, you'll have more energy. If you eat in a way that gets in the way of your digestion, you hurt your energy. Make sense? Very simple. Everybody knows that. So what everybody needs to do, which is going to make your life so much more wonderful and happy, is to pay attention to how you eat and how you digest your food. Eat in a way that's good for digestion. I know you come to Neve for this, right? One-day class, right? This is my big class, right? You'll be surprised, yeah? Everything, the whole world looks more beautiful when you have more energy and more health. Now, what does that mean? So digestion, very simply, is breaking down the food so it can be absorbed in your body. The beginning of digestion is where? In your mouth. With what? Teeth. Chewing, right? This is going to sound really silly. I know you need to come to Yerushalayim to hear this. I understand, right? Chew your food more. Chew your food more. I know it sounds I'm going to tell you things that are not so basic, right? I believe it, right? Just spend a little bit of time, make it into a habit. Become religious about it, if you excuse the expression, yeah? A little bit more chewing. Now, most people are so hungry usually when they eat, or they like their food so much that they just, yeah? You'd be surprised. Now, I don't want to be too graphic, but having a bunch of children, sometimes the children are not so well, and they sometimes don't keep their food down. I said to them, you didn't chew your food, excuse me. Yeah, you can see they barely chewed, especially when they like something really yummy. A few chews and they swallowed it already. Now, if it gets to the stomach and the stomach is trying to put acid on the food to break the food down, if it's a big piece, the acid only goes to the outside and it takes a long time to get all the way through. It takes much more time sitting in your stomach and you feel really sluggish. If it's a bunch of small pieces, much more surface area, excuse me, yeah? And you can digest more quickly, have more energy. I know this is boring, I know this is stupid, but it's every day of our lives. Yeah? How are you supposed to be a happy person in life if you're all the time exhausted because you don't digest well, because you don't chew well? I don't know how, right? Okay? It's very difficult. Maybe you can if you're a great, shining person, but maybe you can do it. It's very difficult. Why make it more difficult than it needs to be? Next, when you digest your food, stomach acid goes on the food. Don't do anything to get in the way of the process of the stomach acid breaking down the food. The easiest way to get in the way of the stomach acid breaking down the food is to drink while you eat. Now, I'm going to answer your questions, trust me. I'm going to answer your questions what to do about that, because you say, oh, I'm thirsty when I drink, when I eat. I'll tell you all about that in a minute, right? But the first thing I tell you is don't drink and eat together. Drink 20 minutes before you eat and an hour after you eat. If you feel yourself getting hungry, say, ooh, I'm hungry, better drink because I'm going to be eating soon. It's not that big of a deal. It's incredible if you do it. We live next door to a wonderful lady. Her name is Mrs. Muller. We call her Mrs. Muller. She's the door right next to us. And she was born just outside one of the camps in the Holocaust. I think she's one of the only babies that actually survived. Right? She's in her 80s now. And she said the number one piece of advice that she got in health in her life was this piece of advice. She doesn't drink and eat together. I know it sounds very basic. Just try it. Now, it's a little bit hard at the beginning, but if you get you get into the habit first of drinking before you eat and drinking after you eat, you'll be a much happier person. Okay? Next, very simple. If you want to be successful and you want to have energy, there's another thing you want to do. This is amazing. The stomach is not so selective in what's in there. It takes the food that it receives, it digests it, and then it pushes it along, right? Now, if you have, let's say it takes about 4 hours to digest food, right? So you eat breakfast, 4 hours later, your food is ready to go on. It depends on what you eat, but plus or minus, that's how it works, right? If you eat, and then 2 hours later, you eat again, you have undigested food together with half-digested food. What does the stomach do? Now the stomach doesn't know what to do. The stomach can either take the undigested food and move it along with the digested food, which is really bad for you. Now you have undigested food in your stomach. Or it could keep the digested food in your stomach to finish the stuff that's undigested. Does this make sense?
That's why and other things take that long. Carbs take relatively fast.
Well, that's a long time. It depends on what it is. I mean, it could be, fruit is very, very quick. Carbs are a little less. Carbs are more. Meat is much more. But it depends on what it is. But I mean, if you eat a meal of carbs and then another meal of carbs in a short amount of time afterwards, then you have half digested. And a lot of people do that. You have, a sandwich or whatever it is, and then, an hour later you're eating pretzels or something else. So you have partially digested food and undigested food. Now the stomach pushes along the undigested food. That's unbelievably unhealthy for you. Or the stomach keeps the digested food in the way. Yes?
Don't they say to eat smaller portions and to eat every 2 hours?
That depends on what you're doing. If you're a person who's trying to exercise, you have a very high calorie, you're burning a lot of calories through the day, you have a lot of high intensity exercise, it could be you need to eat small meals, maybe 3. But I find personally 3 hours. 2 hours is very short. 2 hours is very, very short.
So you're saying we should wait 2 hours before you eat anything?
You should wait 4 hours between meals. Now the thing is, you're drinking between. So you're not really it's not like your stomach is empty. By the way, I want to tell you something that a lot of people don't know. You know that feeling of hunger that you get? You know what that is?
Thirst.
What is it?
Thirst.
It's what?
Thirst.
It's thirst. Well, that's also true. It can't be thirst. But what's physically happening to your stomach?
It's eating itself. It's getting smaller.
It's getting smaller. It's not yet eating itself yet. That's very, it can't be. But what it is, the stomach is flexible and it's shrinking. Now, a lot of people eat a little bit too much and their stomach is in a standard position that's a little bit too big. For them to be not hungry, they need to keep filling up the too big stomach. If they would wait a little bit, maybe a day or so, not by eating, I'm saying eat a little bit less. So you feel a little bit hungry, not exactly as full as you will, your stomach will get smaller. When it gets smaller, you don't need to eat as much. Now, I'm not talking about weight. I don't care. That's not important. I'm saying energy and health. Energy and health. If you're constantly digesting more than you need to digest, less energy, less health, it's a shame. Okay? Now, there are certain foods, like you mentioned, that digest at different times. I don't want to make you crazy about that. I'm just going to say really briefly, certain foods digest really quickly, like fruit. Fresh fruit, not canned fruit, not cooked fruit. Fresh fruit goes through really quickly. So the rule is, with fruit, eat it alone or leave it alone. Okay? I have a good friend told me, I can't eat fruit, gives me a stomachache. I said, when do you eat it? He says, for dessert. So it has the same problem. He eats a meal, the fruit goes into his stomach, it's ready to go through very quickly, but the rest of the food wants to hang around there for a while. So he has a stomachache, he doesn't know what to do with himself. I said, why don't you try eating fruit before you eat anything else? Or at least 3 hours after, or 2 hours after, right? 3 hours, I'd say. You started doing that, no problem, no stomach aches. Now, that's the type of thing you're supposed to learn when you're 3 years old, but people don't know, okay, yeah. If they take him to a gastroenterologist, what's the problem with your stomach? Okay, nothing problem, I just don't know how to eat. I don't have to take care of my stomach. Okay, good, now, next. In the morning when you wake up, have a big drink of water, or something else if you want, right? But something that hydrates you. The body is made up mostly of water. 70, 80%, I'm not sure what percentage is, a high percentage of water. Now the blood has to be thin enough to flow. If there's not enough water in the blood, a person can die. So the body's very good at keeping enough water in there. If there's not enough water in the body takes water out of the cells to put it into the blood. Then you feel really lousy and sluggish. Okay? If you don't want to feel that way, just keep on drinking. So in the morning, since your body doesn't really store so much water, in the morning have a big drink. You have to go to the bathroom, that's fine, that's just fine. That's great, it gets rid of a lot of stuff in your body also, it's great. Yeah? In the morning, I drink usually, can I borrow that for a second? Yeah? I drink about, let's see, what is this? Yeah, approximately I drink about 4 of these in the morning. Now, not right away, sometimes I drink 3 right away, and then I drink right afterwards, about an hour later I drink another 3, right? Approximately that amount of water, right? You'd be surprised. I walked over here, I live 50 minutes away by foot. I walked over here, it's a little bit hot today, so I drank about 1 of these, right? That was worth it, right? You'd be surprised. Now, if you're a nursing mommy, which happens sometimes also, right, then you need to drink a ton. You'd be surprised. My wife says she used to drink these little cups, and she said, I couldn't drink enough. So she started drinking out of a big cup and using a bottle like this. She can, in one sitting, drink almost an entire bottle. That's without exercising. Yeah, now that's a nursing mother, that's different, right? Okay, if you, yes?
But can you train your body to retain more water? Because like, what if you just have to keep going to that? Like this is like a real question.
I don't know if you can train your body to retain more water. I don't know. There are people, I think it's probably different from person to person. There is such a thing as drinking something that will retain water better. Like if you just, some people, they have a hard time just drinking straight water. If you put a little bit of sugar into it or a little bit of honey or something, a little bit of, sometimes people, a little bit of salt, a little bit, healthy salt, then that could do it for you also. Yeah, it's not, you have to put a little bit of something in there, it's also good. But I don't, as far as I know, there's no way to train your body to retain water more. I don't think so. Okay. As far as I know. Okay, now, next. Very, very simple. Very simple. This is going to sound very obvious. Again, there are sources all over the Torah that talk about this. There's a Mishnah, actually, in Pirkei Avos, in the Ethics of the Fathers, that talk about this idea, which is sleep. Yeah? One of the most clear examples of the will of God, I'm not getting into God existing, that's a whole discussion, but the will of God, one of the clearest examples of what he wants is in open, what we call nature. The fact that it's hard to see at night because there's less light, and it's easy to see during the day, is an indication that God wants us to go to sleep during the nighttime and wake up and take action during the day. It's very simple. Yeah? Most success literature that you read, business and peak performance, will tell you if you want to be successful, get up early. They're not getting into the philosophy behind it, but they're saying the truth is, you'll feel better, you'll function better if you wake up. Your body works that way. Now, some people say, I'm a night person. I used to be a night person. I switched. It's amazing if you get up. Now, the key to getting up on time is going to sleep on time. I'm going to tell you something that's so basic, and it's just, I don't mean to be overly basic, but you need to tell yourself this, yeah? Every person is a combination of an adult and a child, or a teenager and a baby, or something in between, right? A wise woman and a young child, whatever it is, right? The adult in you has to tell the child in you, okay, now we're going to sleep. It's great to make a bedtime, just like you do with your kids, bedtime, and a bedtime routine. Now, if you want to go to sleep, if you want to work on your sleep, everybody's different how many hours you need to sleep. That's a whole discussion. We don't have time for this right now, but very briefly, right? If you wind up getting enough sleep on a regular basis, you'll be amazed how much better you can function. There are many studies about this, that people don't sleep properly. It's as if they're intoxicated. It's as if they have all kinds of mental issues because they don't sleep properly. Okay, it's very simple. If you want to be more successful, work on it as a habit. I'm going to become a master in sleeping properly. It doesn't mean I sleep all day. It just means I sleep efficiently. Now, the way to do that is give yourself a bedtime. If you have a bedtime in your mind, then you know I have a target time. Oh, I'm going to bed soon. I better get myself ready. Great way to do it is just like you do with kids. When you want kids to go to sleep, you don't keep them awake in front of bright screens and bright lights. You turn the lights down. Yeah? You put yourself in pajamas or whatever you're going to be sleeping in. Now, this speaks to a deep part of your personality, of your mind, because like, wait, I'm in my pajamas. Must be I'm going to sleep soon. I know it sounds basic. If you get into the habit of doing this, it's amazing what will happen. Now, here's the thing. What a lot of people say is, I need to get to sleep soon. But you're fully dressed, the lights are on. Maybe you're checking whatever you're on your phone, whatever you're doing, right? It's bright and like loud. Turn the lights down, put on pajamas. Make sure you don't eat within a half hour of going to sleep. I'm going to sleep soon. Suddenly you get hungry. Very often, like you said before, right? When a person is hungry, they think they're hungry, they're really thirsty, right? When you think you're hungry and it's late at night, it's not actually hunger, it's actually tired. It's fatigue. You need to go to sleep. When you start grabbing for those munchies at night, it's a clear indication that you need to go to sleep. You say, but I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry. Did you ever have a situation where you need to where you're really hungry and you go to sleep, you wake up the next day, you're not hungry at all? Amazing, right? So now, what's great about this also, besides the fact that you're going to feel amazing if you do this, you feel like Superwoman if you can do this, right? In this case, Superman, whatever the case is, right? You're flying across. Besides all of that, it sets an incredible example for your children. If your children come home, especially your teenage kids, they come back and they see the house is dark. Mommy and daddy are in pajamas already. They're on the way to go to bed. They're going, the house is quiet. Like, people are talking quietly, right? So it sets an example. That's normal. Now, in the world today, things are the exact opposite. People go to sleep very, very late, and they wonder why they can't function. Yeah? As far as I know, they haven't moved the official work day to start 11, 12 o'clock, right? It still starts at 9 o'clock, approximately, depending on what if you're a business, it might be even earlier, right? So you still have to get up. Okay, very simple. Okay, next. If you want to keep yourself healthy, A very easy thing to do is to make sure the chemical processes in the body are nice and oiled. They're working very well. They're lubricated. Now, you learned this a long time ago, depending on how old you are and what your education was. But you know that every chemical process has enzymes in it. Enzymes are the things that, that facilitate every chemical process. The body has many enzymes in it. Many of the enzymes that we have, we only get from eating fresh fruits and vegetables. Fresh, can't be cooked, can't be pickled, can't be vinegared, yeah? Now, it's a funny thing because a lot of people don't like fresh fruits and vegetables. I understand that. I also didn't like it too much. You have to eat your vegetables, right? But if you get into the habit on a regular basis of eating some kind of vegetables, fresh, cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, whatever you like, it's a great way, and fruit also, if you eat fruit separately, it's a great way to get plenty of enzymes in your body and you'll feel much better. There are some people that go weeks or months without eating anything fresh. It's very difficult to get any enzymes if you don't have any, if you don't do that. If you don't have enzymes in your body's at a tremendous disadvantage. You have some in your body, but to get a constant flow of that, you don't have to eat a lot of it. Okay? Got me? Good. How are we doing on time? There's a whole separate discussion which we're not going to talk about now, but I just want to mention it, that if you want to be healthy, you want to have energy, the most important factor in your energy is what? More than exercise. More than eating. What? Rest. Even more than rest.
Be happy.
What's that? Be happy. The mind. It's the mind. That's a discussion by itself. If your mind is the most important factor in your health. So we're not going to talk about that now. I'm just mentioning it. That's a separate discussion which needs to be addressed. Okay? There are a lot of people that get so nervous about their health that they kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? They're killing their health because they're so nervous. That's not whole wheat, or that's not, not enough enzymes. What's gonna, right? Sometimes you have to eat some garbage now and then. It's okay. It happens, right? Don't get it, the stress about it makes it much worse. And this is very obvious. But if you don't have that, you have a lot of people that are very strict about it. They're militant about their health, and they're driving themselves right into the right. Now, next, this is very important. This is very easy, but very important. The first part of digestion is breaking down the food. The next part of digestion is absorbing the food. The last part is elimination, getting rid of the garbage, the poison from your body, the waste from your body, right? The waste in the body is poison. It's actually poison. And the body wants to get rid of it as quickly as possible. If you want to be healthy, you have to eat and act in a way that helps you to eliminate. Helps you go to the bathroom. And I say it's a funny thing to talk about in seminary. There are Gemaras that talk about this. The Talmud talks about this openly. We have a blessing we say every day after you go to the bathroom. You come out of the bathroom, a blessing every day. Part of that blessing, the conclusion of that blessing is Rofeichol Basar, that God heals all flesh. Since the waste in the body is a poison, when you get rid of it, that's a healing. It's a healing. If you do things to delay going to the bathroom, then you're hurting your health. You're harming your health. Now, without getting too graphic, it's extremely important that a person goes to the bathroom approximately the same number of times during the day as they eat meals. Without getting too explicit, yeah? Plus or minus, right? If a person eats 3 times a day, but they only go to the bathroom really only once, there's a bit of a problem there. It means there's some kind of delay. Now, if you drink properly, and you have enzymes, and you exercise, which we're going to talk about a little bit, you at least move around a little bit, right? That helps you to digest. I want to tell you one of the easiest ways to make your digestion and elimination amazing. You probably know this, but people don't put an emphasis on it. Probiotics. Very simple. The positive flora in your gut, in the lower digestive tract, it's the good bacteria. That helps you go to the bathroom. You're born with probiotics. You get it from nursing also. But we eat a lot of food that kills the probiotics. Tons of food that kills it. So people wonder why they're having a hard time. Going to the bathroom should be a quick and easy process. Literally. Quick and easy. In and out, 2 minutes, it's over, finished. A lot of people have a very hard time going to the bathroom. If there's a problem going to the bathroom, that means that you're not taking care of your health properly, and it's a time bomb of health. You don't want to be that way. One of the easiest ways to solve that problem is to drink properly, like we said. To eat plenty of fruit before you eat, separately, right? Vegetables when you eat, fresh vegetables when you eat every meal. I eat a cucumber or lettuce or tomato every single meal that I eat. It's very, very good to do that. And there's plenty of liquid in there. The liquid doesn't stop the digestion, it keeps everything moving. Beautiful. But in addition to that, you can actually buy probiotics. Now you say, well, it's probiotic yogurt, right? Probiotic yogurt, right? Yeah? The probiotic yogurt has very few probiotics in it, number one. And number two is, as you're shaking your head, right? You're 100% right? They put white sugar in there. Now here's the scary part. There are a bunch of things that we eat that kills the probiotics that we eat. One of them is white sugar. And now there's white sugar in a lot of foods. The standard Western diet is filled with white sugar. They put it in tomato sauce, and they put it in bread, and they put it in soda and all those things like that. It kills your probiotics. Okay? Now I know this part's a little weird. It's a little bit, out there, the health guy comes and talks to you. I'm not the health guy, but you get the idea, right? A little bit out there. But the easy thing about this is there's quick fixes in probiotics. You can actually buy them. Buy them in a little bottle. It's not a big deal. I don't know how much they cost in other places in Israel. They're not that expensive, right? Take one a day in the morning when you have a lot of water. Take one before you go to sleep, or maybe twice, one in the morning and one at night when you go to sleep, right? You'll be surprised it helps the whole process. Now, there are other things that kill probiotics also. Anything you can do to cut down the things that kill your probiotics will be much healthier. Okay? Now, it's a whole long list. I'm going to tell you very briefly some of the things that kill your probiotics. In addition to that, I want to introduce something which some of you know about and some of you don't know about. Some of you heard about it. It sounds kind of funny. If you do research for what I'm about to tell you, you'll see people that swear by it and people think it's the most ridiculous thing on the planet. I would suggest try it for yourself, and if you find a big difference, then do it. If you find there's no difference, then don't do it. Yeah? I happen to think it's true. It makes sense to me. Okay? But I'm not, militant about these things. I think, try yourself. I think it makes an enormous difference. Okay? That is the following. Okay? Now again, this is one of these things that people say, oh, you heard her talk about that? Like, people think it's so crazy. It's so extreme. It's not extreme. It's normal. It's the way people used to eat. The new diets that we eat in the last 100 years is totally different than the way most of humanity used to eat.
Are you saying vegan or something?
No, nothing like that. Nothing. It's kind of extreme, but not so extreme like that. Not like that. No, because people always ate meat. People always ate meat. There's always been meat going on for a long time. I'm saying last several thousand years, people have been eating in a basically healthy way. Last 100 years, all kinds of food changed. Okay, very simple. The body has to maintain a certain pH level, acid-alkaline balance. Very simple. If the blood moves a little bit too acid or a little bit too basic, too alkaline, person can die. The body's very good at keeping that balance, no matter what happens. When you eat, a lot of the food that we eat is very acid forming in the body. So what the body does is it moves the acid away from the blood so that you survive, and it puts it in other parts of the body. One of the ways the body gets acid away from your blood is by retaining fat. Fat's a great way to put acid in fat. Sometimes people are exercising, they want to lose weight. I'm not saying that's important, but if that's what you want, right? They're trying to lose weight. They can't lose weight. They don't know why, because they're eating a lot of acid in their food. And the body says, I can't let go of the fat, because that's a great way to cut down the acid. That's how it works. Put the, away from the vital organs, great. Now, I want to tell you very briefly, the foods that cause acid and the foods that kill probiotics are almost exactly the same. So I'm going to give you a brief list, okay? Just cut down on these things and instead replace them with more healthy things. If you just make an improvement, a partial solution is also a solution. If you improve 5% in this, your whole life will be different. Okay? I've had periods of time where I was eating consistently more acid, and I was very, very low in my energy, and I was open to sickness and all kinds of things, right? I used to get sick basically all the time, right? I changed the way I eat. Thank God I don't get sick too often now. Okay? Now, these are the foods. You're not going to like this. Okay? Really briefly. I can tell you outside. I'm not going to write down, right? I'll tell you briefly. White sugar. White flour. What am I going to eat, Rabbi? Right? Yeah? Soda. Alcohol. Most people don't like this one. Most over-the-counter painkillers. Almost all of them. Okay, the worst of it is probably ibuprofen, which people like, especially they're in pain different times during the day, right? I had a period of time where for about 6 years I didn't take any painkiller whatsoever. Then I had a certain injury, I needed to take anti-inflammatories. Once I almost didn't get sick in 6 years. The only thing I changed, I started having painkiller. I was taking, what do you call them? Ibuprofen, what do you call the thing? Advil, right? I was taking Advil, taking 2 Advils a day, started getting sick all the time. It's amazing. I still took probiotics, helps out, But it's a short amount kills it. Now, what do you do instead of white sugar? Now, brown sugar is actually white sugar and molasses mixed together. So instead of brown sugar, use the raw sugar. Raw sugar is much better. It's not the best thing, but it's much, much better. Raw sugar, you know what I mean, the raw sugar? Just Demerara sugar, I think they call it in this country.
Coconut sugar is really good.
What's that?
Coconut sugar.
Coconut sugar, that's fancy already. Right, that's true. And of course, honey is wonderful also. Honey is much better too. If you have raw honey, it's a superfood to eat. It's a great, super healthy, but you don't have to be crazy about it. Anything you can do to cut down the white sugar is fantastic. Now, it's in a lot of food, so it means a commitment. But once you start cutting this stuff down, you realize you're going to be sick much less often, and if you get sick, you'll get better much quicker, and you have so much more energy, and your mind is more alert. People are going to they're going to love to be around you. You're going to be loved to be around yourself. Because you're like, wow, I didn't realize how happy I'm. Like, it's so easy because you just have more energy. Make sense? Okay? Alcohol, if you have a situation where you're going to drink alcohol, have a bunch of white sugar, it's worth it to spend a few days afterwards replenishing by taking these probiotics. Okay, there's natural ways to make them also, but the easiest way to do it is to buy it someplace. Now, I just want to tell you a little hint about probiotics. Probiotics, there are many different types of them. So you should buy one, if you buy one that has many different types, like at least 10 different types in it. Okay, as opposed to a large quantity of one type, most of them, that's the way they sell it. It's not that expensive. Okay, now, next. Probiotics.
And can you just go to the shop?
Yeah, they sell probiotics. Now, there's all kinds of types. You have to experiment. Some, I find personally, certain types are better than others, work better than others. You have to experiment a little bit yourself, yeah.
A question about the sugar.
Yeah.
Even though like some honeys have actual other nutrients, most sugar substitutes, aren't they all digested in the body the same way? So
it depends really. It depends.
Okay.
You can. I don't know I don't know too much of the technical side behind it. I know there's a lot of research, and I've read a lot of research about it, that the fact is that white sugar is unbelievably terrible.
Right.
Yeah. But honey doesn't work the same way. I think it's probably because it's more processed. I don't know why that is. I don't know what the reason for it, but I just know that's the reality. I don't know. I can't tell you the reason why.
Okay.
So, I mean, I find personally for me that there's a big difference between the white sugar and the raw sugar. But even raw sugar is not the best thing, so I usually have honey much more. Honey's much better, yeah? If you really want to be great about it and add to your positive side of the health, then besides honey, if you want to get raw honey, it's even better. Raw honey is super healthy. It's a natural antibiotic, another story. Now, I know this is very boring. This is the one class that I have you this way talking about, but if you slightly change your life by moving any of these things, your whole life will change. Last thing is, very simple, is exercise. Now, when you talk to people about exercise that don't exercise, which was me, right now I exercise all the time, but I wasn't like that, right? They'll tell you, exercise equals pain, okay? Now, that's a whole discussion by itself. I have a whole class about difficulties and how to deal with difficulties and challenges and growth, many classes about those things. Besides the fact that we didn't really learn so much about how to deal with our health and things of that sort, we also a lot of us weren't taught so much how to expand and grow and push ourselves. So when something becomes challenging, we suddenly shy away from it. All growth takes place outside of the comfort zone. All of it. You don't grow if it's easy. I mean, we even use the term growing pains. It's just part of normal life. The fear that you have from the pain always makes the pain worse than the pain itself. Like my wife just gave birth last week, and she said to me, it was out of 11 births, thank God, right? 11 births, right? She said this was the easiest one. Why? Because she prepared mentally in a totally different way. She went in with the total focus that she's going to be super relaxed, and that most of the pain comes from the tension and the worry and not from the body. And she said it was, relatively speaking, almost painless. It was almost painless.
Yeah, so my friend also told me that she did a lot of mind work.
Mind work. And I saw a great quote. I'm not this type of person, but sometimes you see like a lot of these gym quotes. There's a lot of truth in those quotes you see up on the wall in the gym. I've never been to a gym, I can't tell you. But I've seen the quotes, you know what I'm saying? It says, your legs aren't giving out, your mind is giving out. Interesting, right? 2 days after my wife gave birth, so I was running around taking care of the other 10 kids, right? In the house and everything, running around, right? I was totally exhausted. I wanted to just put my feet up. It was only 8:30 in the morning. It's true, right? I'd been up for 3.5 hours. I'd be up at 5 o'clock, it was great. Anyway, so I was out trying to get some stuff, and I was going to pick up my wife later in the day, and she calls me and said, "Oh, we should make a celebration this Shabbos about for the baby being born." I said, I don't think I have energy to do that, so we'll have to wait till maybe the following week. I said, I don't have strength, right? I walked into a store, I wanted to buy new sheets, new duvet covers and sheets. I come back to like a nice feeling of renewal, right? Great. So I see these sheets, beautiful sheets, perfect, purple flowers and lavender. She's gonna like this, yeah? So I was like, oh, this is great. I could do this, and I could paint the house, and I'll do this. Suddenly, before I couldn't even stand up, now all of a sudden I feel that your legs aren't giving out, your mind is giving out. Yeah? So when it comes to exercise, most of the problem is mental, it's actually not physical. Now, it's true that if your body's not used to it, it takes a little while, so make it easy. Take it easy. Start exercising 5 minutes a day. It doesn't matter how poorly you exercise and how short you exercise, as long as you do it and you make it into a habit. I have a good friend who's a little bit overweight and he's not in the best health, and he tried to get a personal trainer. I said, you have to get a personal trainer, maybe that'll help you. He said, I did. I said, what happened? He said, he killed me. What happened? He said, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. I was like, that's not the point. The point is to make you feel wonderful about exercise, even though you're barely exercising, it doesn't make a difference. And then the habit is formed, and you slowly add a minute or so every week. If you add a minute a week, you won't even feel it. Start with 5 minutes, a week later, 6 minutes. A week later, after 10 weeks, you'll be up to 15 minutes. It's no big deal, right? But you have the habit of doing it, it's no big deal. If you do this on a regular basis, you'll be surprised. Now I want to tell you something some people don't know, a lot of people don't know this. They tell you that if you want to reach a certain pulse when you exercise, a certain, heart rate, yeah. So they say that you should do 220 beats, 220 minus your age. I've read a lot about this, and there's a certain opinion, a certain way of looking at this, that's incorrect. You should do it lower than that. Lower than that. It should be 180 minus your age, which is much lower. There's a man, his name is Steve Mittelman. Sounds like a Jewish name, it's actually not a Jewish name, right? Steve Mittelman. He ran 1,000 miles in 11 days. Now, marathons are 26 miles. Marathon runners will tell you, you can't run 2 marathons in 1 month, right? Is that true? Yeah. Yeah, can't run 2 marathons in 1 month. 52 miles in 1 month is too much. This man ran 1,000 miles in 11 days. How did he do that? So people said to him, what did you do and how did you learn this? Make a long story short, this man is not the only one. Many people do this. He said you have to train your body for aerobic exercise. Aerobic, how do you do that? He says if you're jogging at 220 minus your age, he says very often there's not enough oxygen getting to your cells. And even though you're doing an aerobic exercise, your body is in a state of anaerobic respiration. It's like working out, it's like lifting weights, same idea, right? He says if you patiently wait 2 or 3 months where you exercise 180 minus your age, very slow, you should be able to speak easily when you're exercising. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. When I walk here, I walk nice and slow, I don't walk fast. No good, right? Nice and slow, do it slowly like that. He says your energy will explode. That's what he does. He trained himself for years doing like that. And so when he started doing it, he started with, I think, 10 other people. None of them finished. He's the only one who finished. He was miles behind everyone else. Nice and slow. He walked a lot of it, blah, blah, blah. And he would run, walk and run, walk and run. And he made it. 1,000 miles in, it's amazing. Yeah? Now, last thing. All of this, the most important thing you need to do is to believe in yourself that you can do it. I know it's very simple, it's very cliche. Anytime you decide you want to make a change, you have to first install in your mind and in your heart the firm belief that you can do this and that you will do this. You can do this and that you will do this. I'm doing it. You make a decision, I'm doing it. The word decision comes from cut. Cutting off all your possibilities. There's no other option. You want to take the island, you have to burn the ships. No other way. Yeah, it's not usually good to burn the bridges, but in this case it is. You decide, I want a different quality of life, I want to have energy, I want to set a good example for my kids, I want to set an example for my family, I want to be a present, I want to live long. Okay? Now this is only one little detail. Take one thing, chew more. Don't drink and eat together. Have a big drink in the morning. Get a little more sleep. Work on a bedtime routine. Have a cucumber with every meal. Or lettuce, whatever you like. Okay? By the way, I left that one thing. that there are a lot of foods that are alkalizing. I told you them, the acid foods. Cucumbers are wonderful for that. You can look online instead of wasting, I won't waste your time, foods that alkalize you. Okay, some of them are wonderful. One of the easiest ways to do that is a certain drink. It's called green drinks. It's a little bit out there. Yeah, it's like it's kind of like a powder form. You can mix it. It looks a little weird, but you can. They're called green drinks. Okay, it's a little, but they're super alkalizing. It's an easy way of doing it. Okay, ladies, nice to see you. Shall be gesund und gewünscht. All the best.